Welcome to the conversation that we have in Squads 2020 Summit orientation. We welcome, Carmelo Anthony, all-star, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. How you feeling today, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Trying to just adapt to what's going on out here today. That's all.
Yeah, definitely can dig it. There's a lot going on. We're in the middle of this double pandemic right now that they're calling it of COVID-19, and the resurgence of public racism. Like, what do you feel most hopeful about these days?
I think for me, man, it's I feel hopeful because a lot of times we control a lot of the things that happens to us and around us. It's some things that just we can't control, but it's certain things that we can control. We can control, how we educate ourselves and the things that we read and the people that we talk to and the things that we do, for ourselves and the way that we remain true to ourselves. Doing good deeds and just being assertive out there. Like those are things that we can do, taking time to yourself and praying and meditating and, kind of shifting our mindset and shifting our expectations. Those are things that we can control. So from that standpoint, that's what makes me hopeful.
Is there anything like where we're on social media every day? The news is coming to our phones. It's different than when you and I were growing up and we would have to see the news on television. Now it comes in a text message and you get these updates. Like, is there anything that makes you feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, it is. There's definitely light. I mean, in life and in just society in general, we as Black people has always been able to adapt to, our surroundings and things that's going on in our world. So that alone makes me feel like there is light at the end of the tunnel, but it's still it's going to be some more destroying. It's going to be some more, tear downs until we're able to bounce back and build ourselves back up. So that's the time that we're in now. Everything is being destroyed, and sometimes you have to destroy it in order to build it back up the right way. So that's my take on this whole, just everything that we're dealing with today.
Absolutely. They always say is you either build or you destroy. Which one are you choosing? And you're one of the people that we've seen is choosing to build. And you like I would consider you a cultural influencer. I'm not just an athlete, more than an athlete, but within that role that you have the ability to shift culture and to move things, faster than someone with not as large a platform or with not as large a voice. Like, is there a specific role that you feel that influencers, athletes should play in, combating racism and like these economic injustices?
Yeah. I would say this as basketball players, as athletes in general, like we've always kind of been in this lane where we, quote unquote, we have to shut up and dribble or, shut up and pass or, shut up and hit the ball. Like regardless of what it is as an athlete, we've always been told to don't get involved in certain things, right? Stay in your lane. And for so many years, athletes has been quiet. Athletes that, have been afraid to speak out and talk and touch on a lot of the topics that we weren't supposed to touch on. That whole world has shifted to where the athletes now are becoming the voices of the community, of our country, of the world. We're taking so many stances on a lot of the things that's going on and the right stance, and positive stance. And, we just tired, we tired of just going out there and in a sense of, shut up and dribble and just go be an athlete. We human at the end of the day. We have family, we have friends, we have close ones that we connected to that are still in those environments that are being affected. So at the end of the day, basketball to me and sports to me now becomes secondary. Because now it's just all about how do we come together and figure this out? What do we have to figure it out? What do we have to figure out? How do we figure it out? Who do we have to talk to? You know what? We're gonna start talking. Like And it's a challenging time for everybody that's out there who sees that. You got the most prominent people that's out there from an athlete standpoint, some of the most recognizable faces in the world and in our sport and our country, and we taking the lead on that. We forcing change, and we want to see that immediately.
Yeah, previously when you look at like the history of like sports and entertainment, there were a lot of people that wouldn't take that time or take that, that initiative because they were so worried about their personal brands. And people like yourself and like these athletes and these influencers of today are putting the cause first before their own personal brands. They're not worried about, jeopardizing this endorsement. It's about, this is something that is really important to us as a culture. And you have younger student athletes or just students in general that are like looking up to you, and they're looking at your generation of athletes and seeing what they should do moving forward. And sometimes they feel like they don't know what to do, or they don't know what they should do, or they don't know how to do certain things. So like, what would you like encourage, them to do to embrace their power, and like, how do they create change?
Well, I go back to, just the world of athletes, speaking out and talking and, demanding change and fighting for what's right. And, I'll take that back to the 60s, right? And that was the era of the athletes, the Black athlete, when they decided to just come together and use their power and use their voices and platforms to make that change. So fast forward now, we are just building on what those guys created. Mm-hmm. and the foundation has been laid for a long time. We the new era, right? And this younger generation that's coming up now, they the voices. We got to rely on them. We got to give them the information. We got to teach them. We got to give them that understanding and that knowledge, so they could continue to go out there and being that voice and feeling like they have a place in this society, because they do. And this next generation that's of college students and high school students and even kids younger than that, they're the ones that's going to see the change. They're the ones that's going to really, be able to benefit from that change. I don't know if I'm going to see the change that I want in my lifetime. I just don't know. We're going to see some type of change, but I just don't know the real change that we really want. I don't know if I'm going to see that. But this younger generation have an opportunity to establish what they want to see and what they want to have when they get older and when they grow up. So don't never feel like you can't use your voice, or, you obsolete out there, because you're not. Every voice count, every person count, and whatever you feel like you want to do, you have the power to go out there and do that, and you have to believe in that.
Yeah, and they have the numbers to do it. They're a much larger generation, of Generation Y, which is the millennials, and Generation Z, which is what's next or now and next. They are two of the largest generations population wise that we've had in this country in a long time, since the boomers, and maybe even bigger than them. And the way it's predicted now is that by the year 2050, that there will be larger numbers of like Black and brown people than we've seen in the world previously. But like, what type of world? You said that you may not live to see the change that you want, but you're a father. So what type of change do you want to see in the world for your son by the year 2050?
Damn, 2050. That's
man, that's the goal, man.
that is a goal. That is a milestone.